Hey there, it's Crafty Jennabug. So please disregard any weird sound you hear in the background, that rumbling sound. I'm sure it's picking up. I've got a rock tumbler going in the other room, and you can hear it throughout my entire house. So I've tried to muffle it as best I can, but we're just gonna have to muddle through. Video's gotta get videoed, right? So I have here some old coffee. It's actually dried, but not for long. It's still in the coffee filter that it was brewed in, and I'm gonna use it. And then I have some tea bags that are also used that we will experiment with today. I want to try my hand at coffee dyeing and tea dyeing papers for junk journals, because I think it gives it that nice vintage feel, and you don't have that stark whiteness. I won't feel so obligated to completely cover the pages, etc. So I want to experiment a little bit with that. Coffee dyeing various different types of paper. So that's what this video is going to be. I am going to get some water boiling and transfer these into another container each. I don't think I'm going to use all of these tea bags right now, but I have them on hand from the last quite a few teas I've drank. And we will see about making some liquids to dye paper. So, let's get crafting. Alright, while the water is boiling, I'm going to prepare this coffee filter. I don't want to have to filter it again if I can avoid it. So I'm not just going to pour hot water over this while it's open. I'm going to grasp this and kind of hopefully not tear it. And then I'm going to rubber band it. It looks like a little onion. Hopefully that will keep the majority of coffee grounds in there. I'm going to transfer both of these to a glass bowl. I think I will do 2 tea bags. I don't think we have any more coffee grounds. No. Okay, so we're just waiting for the water to boil. This, by the way, is black tea. So it should be nice and dark. You can also try this with green tea. I have some elderberries that are in season right now. I might try it with elderberries. Oh, I need more spray bottles. So I'm going to be using spray bottles to dye these papers so that I can just spritz them. I might have to do this with elderberries also, since they are so abundant. Get them before the birds eat them, I guess. Yeah, just coming up with more ideas. I think I might do green tea in the future and some elderberries. But I don't have the bottles for that right now, so that'll have to be another video. Wahahahahaha. Anywho, my bowls are prepped. I'm just waiting on the water to boil. Alright, I did not quite let this water get to boiling. So here we go. All right. Getting steamy. My camera was getting all steamy, so I had to move it. I'm going to let these steep for a little while. Both of these are used, so I'm not sure how the color will come out. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to do another round. My camera's getting steamy again. There we go. But we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna leave these for a little while. You know what, just for good measure, I'm gonna throw a second or a third tea bag in there. I have a feeling their colors are gonna be kind of similar. Interesting. Anyway, I'm gonna let these steep for a while, and we'll be back to see the color once the water has cooled. So as a little side piece of this video, technically it fits. Bear with me. So these tea bags, I'm not gonna need all of them for this. That water is browning up pretty nice with the 3 tea bags I've got in there. So I'm gonna harvest these. I'm gonna compost the tea itself, and I'm going to save the little baggies for junk journaling. I've seen people do this in videos. I think I'm just gonna snip that staple off right there. Get a little container for those. And then open it up. Pour my tea out into my compost container. I could potentially use the dried tea for something. And then I'm left with this neat little tea dyed baggie that I could then use as a little decorative. I could then use this as a little decorative piece. But it's tea dyed, so it fits, right? I mean, look at that. That would look really cool. A little torn piece up underneath some kind of accent. Yeah, so I'm gonna harvest these. Why not? Like I said, I'm not gonna need all of these. There we have it. A few nice grungy looking pieces of thin paper from the tea bags. That'll make nice little additions to junk journals. A little accent piece, or going tucked behind a little accent piece. I can rip them easily. It's very thin. Yeah, I'm excited about this, but it's definitely on theme with the tea and coffee dyed paper subject in this video. So I figured I would include me breaking down one of those and showing you what they look like. Yeah, some of them still have specks of tea, but I think that's okay. I think that'll work. Yay! It has been a few minutes since I poured this water. I'd say about 5-6 minutes, something like that. The tea water is definitely darker. Granted, I used 3 bags in there. I never keep doing this because that's what you do when you make tea, right? I like the color. The coffee, this is still hot, so I can't really do anything with it. The coffee is still really light. I was hoping the coffee would be darker. Ouch. I do have a hole in this bag, so I will probably have to strain it anyway. When this cools a little bit more, I might just open up that coffee filter and see what it gives me with it all exposed. But I'm not sure. Even if it's too light, I do this again. That's really all it is. Or I leave it that color and say, yeah, it's a light coffee stain. I don't know. I don't know. But this is fun, regardless, right? You know, it's an experiment. It's a fun little crafting experiment. So we'll get there when we get there. I just wanted to give you an update on what the water looked like about 5 minutes into steeping. It's still too hot to really mess with. I'm just gonna let it sit here until it cools. So I had a mild mishap with the coffee. I did my little, you know, dunking thing, and it sprung a hole and all the coffee poured out. So I just dumped all the coffee into this, took the coffee filter out completely, stirred it up, and hopefully I get that darker brown color that I was hoping for. And then I've got the coffee filter just sitting off to the side to dry and be used like I am using the tea bags. So, waste not, want not, right? That's how it is now. This still isn't really cool enough to mess with. So, I'm gonna let it steep a little longer. Just wanted to give you that unfortunate, maybe fortunate update. All right, I have changed up the angle a bit. Sorry about the lighting. It's not great in here. This is cooled enough to mess with. Squeezing all that goodness out of there. And I have these two spray bottles. I've got two spray bottles like this that I'm going to use for these. The coffee I have to strain, but I have an idea for that. So right now we're just going to do the tea. I have a funnel. You can't see it. I'm going to lay down a kitchen towel just in case I make a big old mess. Let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. Don't mind my messy counter. All right. Alrighty. Let's see what we can do here. There we go. Now you can see what I'm doing. I got a funnel. I got my bottle. It was a huge funnel. Let me get a smaller one. Alright, I have a funnel and I have my bottle. Bloop. And I have my bowl of tea. I'm not going to strain it, there's nothing in it. Hopefully, I don't mess this up. Alright, that went better than I expected, honestly. I expected a total mess. That's why I put down I expected a total mess. That's why I put down the towel. But now, I have this in a spray bottle so that I can spray the papers. Hopefully that does a good job. Now for the coffee, since I flubbed, I'm still flubbing. Now for the coffee, I'm going to use the bowl from the tea. I have a fine mesh strainer, but I'm also going to take this coffee filter. This is a filter that is too small for our current coffee machine. Our old coffee machine took this size filters, and I'm just gonna double filter it. Slowest project ever. Alright, now my tea is strained. And I am going to get the second bottle filled. I did have an accident. We had some leakage. So, that's why I had the towel. Good foresight on my part. The coffee ended up being a very pretty color. It is very similar to the tea though, so I'm curious to see how they do differently. It is a bit darker. It is a bit darker, which is what I was hoping for, so yay. Alright, when you weren't watching, we got them labeled. My daughter labeled the coffee one, with her lovely handwriting, and then here's the tea. So there is a subtle difference in the color. This one is more of a honey tone, this one is more brown water. So, let's see what they look like spraying on some paper, shall we? Alright, we're back. I have a few trays set up in my kitchen that I'm going to utilize for this. This one is just a baking sheet lined with a couple sheets of newspaper, and then I have the papers I want to dye on top. I think I'm going to do coffee on one side, tea on the other. I've got a variety of different pages. This has some pages from this book on psychology, I think. And then I have a whole lineup. So I'm going to just start and test the sprayer. You better spray. I want a mist. You're going to tell me it doesn't work? Yeah, that's what I wanted. Okay. So far, it just seems to be getting wet, but no actual color. This is the coffee. I might need it to be stronger. Interesting. In which case, I will use more coffee. So that doesn't seem to be doing much. The tea side, let me get this one prepped too. Alright, we got the tea side. Again, I don't know if my tea is dark enough. Looks like I'll be drinking more tea. Alright, coming over here, I've got two different pages from a different psychology book. Again, we're going to do coffee on this side. Flip it over. I'm going to saturate this one a bit more. I don't think this is really going to dye the paper. I think I'm going to have to... Oh, I can see a little tinge in it. Let's try really saturating it. Huh. Yeah, where it's pooling seems to be where it's gonna die. So I just need more. I might have to do a couple of rounds of this. I can see some color. Okay, cool. You can't really see it because the light's horrid in here. So let me go back over here. Do that. Really saturate these. Alright, so this one is just plain copy paper. Oops, sorry, tea paper, I'm getting you dyed. This one you can see a little better. Well, I can anyway. Sorry about the movement. My tripod is not tall enough. I'm gonna leave it like that. I can flip it later when it's dry. Yeah, we'll leave it like that so that hopefully it dies like that. And then this one for the tea, I'm actually gonna squeeze you over a little bit. It's all pooling together right here. So we'll have a little dye stain there. This is not going as I hoped, but we'll see how that goes. All right. And then last but not least, those tiny coffee filters I told you about. We got more of them. And can I set this down? Kinda. No, we'll lift it up. Okay. So we've got more of those small coffee filters. I'm gonna do coffee, tea, a mix of the two. Might have to do a couple of rounds of this to really get it the way I want it to be, which is fine. I will just let these dry and we'll come back and do another round in a little bit. We're back. These are mostly dry. They did not really die. There's a slight change of color, and then some of the coffee ones have like this brownish thing going on here. So I think I'm going to, is it like that before? I've come and I flipped them around. There's that one. This one is the one that shows the most color on it. I flipped them a little bit. Just down on the back. So, definitely need a stronger concentration of tea and coffee in my spray bottles, which I can fix. I just will have to take more time and coats. So, like I said, this one is the best. But it's still leaving me wanting more. And then the filters, they didn't do anything. So, I might give up on them. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, they're still white. So I think we're gonna nix the filters for now. I'll use them for something else. We're just gonna focus on these 3 pages. So let's spray another layer. Since I am giving up on the whatchamacallits for now, I'm gonna shift this so that it lays like that. All right, let's see how those do. Be back when they're dry. We're back. These are dry. It took longer than I expected. It took more applications of the coffee and tea than I expected. So what I ended up doing was I left you after the second application of coffee and tea. I applied 2 more rounds. I ended up using all of the coffee and tea that I had prepared, which was fine. I learned a few things, like maybe don't use old coffee, or if you're going to use old coffee, use more of it. I also, the last 2 rounds of coffee and tea, I took the trays outside to sit in the sun and like weighed them down with rocks, so some of them are a little dirty. But I did that because they were drying slowly inside, and out in the sun it was like 90 something degrees, so that worked in my favor. But I'm pleased with how they turned out. This is the coffee side, this is the tea side. There is a slight difference in color. Hold on. Anyway, just had to do the crinkle. So there is something with the coffee dyed ones. There's like a grit almost. I guess the minute amounts of coffee. So the page looks dirty compared to this one where there's no grit. It's just browned. Well, that's where a significant amount of liquid was sitting, or it could have been the tray where I had, I think this one, coffee may have been sprayed on this page because I had my bottle switched without realizing it. So yeah, these two have a combination of coffee and tea on them. This is the tea side. I can tell by the golden color. This is the coffee side because it's more brown. It's not really showing up very well in the camera, but I promise. I got this. The backs aren't really dyed very much, but I like that too. So that's really cool. Let's go through the coffee pages first. So you saw that one. There's this one, which I think is really cool. And this coffee grit kind of wipes off, but I like it. I think it adds to the paper. And then this one turned out really cool. I like all of this stuff going on. For the last round of coffee and tea, I had just a little bit of each liquid in the bottles, and I ended up just pouring them on the pages and just leaving them in the sun. So that was neat. I might try dipping. Might try dipping the pages in the future. Yeah, look at that. It just comes right up. Anywho, this one I think was my favorite because of all of the water lines, or the liquid lines. Backside's pretty cool. So that's the coffee paper. And this is the tea. You saw this one. This one is just a little tinged, which is fine. I really just wanted to take away some of that stark whiteness. And then this one, which has some dirt on it from a rock. This one turned out pretty neat. It's mostly all concentrated in the middle because this one was on one of the plastic trays that bow in the middle. The trays I use for my my paint pours, I just stuck newspaper on it, and these, and they bow in the middle. So a lot of the liquid pooled here, which is fine. I think it's cool. The back with this one is just a little brown tinged. So those are my dyed papers, and I know I said we were done with the coffee filters, but we weren't. So I was bummed that the filters didn't work out the way I wanted them to. So I ended up needing one of the baking sheets that I had used in order to cook dinner. So things were mostly dry. I transferred them around to dry elsewhere so I could use the baking sheet. But once I pulled the wet newspaper off the baking sheet and then composted it, before I composted the newspaper, I squeezed liquid out of it onto the pan so that I could dip the filters in it. First of all, this filter is the one I used to strain the coffee through the mesh strainer. So that one's got a nice tinge. I like these browner bits. Look almost burnt. And then these I just dipped. You can't really see. It's just the lightest tinge of color. You can see it right there, I think. This one got it good, especially around the edges, which I really like. But they are now dyed. This one had some wrinkles that really took the color and then mess around the edge. I like it. This one also had some crinkles. I might try crinkling paper and then dipping it. That might be cool. And then this one. So I did get the coffee filters working a little bit after all. They're no longer that stark white they were. And they're just something to have to work with in the junk journals. Well, I certainly learned a lot. And I will be implementing these skills that I've learned in future dyeing videos. I do, like I said, want to try elderberry and green tea. I also have a hibiscus tea. That might be fun. I wonder if that would make the papers change. So expect those in another video. I have another project I want to do with elderberries also, but that is a completely different realm of things that I've never done. So yeah, look, if you're interested in this, there will be another video featuring elderberry, dyeing, hibiscus, and green teas. So be on the lookout for that. And then, yeah, if you're into junk journaling, you can stay tuned for more videos on how I utilize these papers that I've dyed. And I will be dyeing more now that I've learned how to do this differently. So I will probably do another video with coffee and tea dyeing where I dip them, maybe leave them in the liquid for a while. I have a method I've devised for making a clothesline to hang over my sink so that I can let them drip dry. That might affect how they dry as well. So yeah, this is a new mission to embark upon, I guess is a good way to say it. I'm really excited about playing with dyeing papers. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned as much as I did and are inspired to utilize paper dyeing techniques for whatever paper crafts you may be participating in. Thanks again. Hope you have a great day. Bye.